Did you say something to the DA, Judge?
I was asking was both parties ready, but she's not. So
Oh, yes, I am ready, sir.
okay, thank you.
In court. Shh. This nigga all in the way and shit.
What do you mean? What's it on? I said I need you to do that for me. I need you to specific files. Bro, I need you to make a file. Listen, thank you. Or you can put it in the GG court file. GIU.
I'ma just mute.
Mr. Drizzy,
Y'all just pay attention. I'm gonna mute my mic so y'all can really.
bailiff, please.
Yes, sir. Jack Ruby.
Yes, sir.
Need you to go ahead and handle that, okay?
Yes, sir.
No, come on.
Wait.
Come out, let me hear.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. I know you said bailiff. Yep. Yep.
Over here.
10-4.
Mr. Drizzy, where is the chief?
I believe he is actually at the Grizzly Gardens right now.
Okay, could you approach the bench, please?
Yes, sir.
What's with all these extra sounds and shit?
Okay, so just to remind you, the judge has allowed us to subpoena the keys for the units that we have searched. Specifically, there are units that were found with illegal contraband in them. So if you flex your T muscle and think keys, right? If I call out a number in just a moment, I need you to stand for me, okay? And I need to remind you guys that you are under oath. We'll get you sworn in because if you do not comply, you can be held in contempt of court and also obstruction of justice. Can we get a bailiff to go over there and I don't know how we can do that. I mean, technically it would be obstruction of justice either way, even if they're not sworn in. Am I correct on that, Judge? Because they've been subpoenaed. Um, okay, gentlemen.
Man, I don't know what's taking so long.
Can I ask you something, DA? Y'all searched my house? Okay, so are you gonna serve me a search warrant? And you just assumed that I would go home and see that?
I can't even hear her.
Sometimes no, sometimes. Am I dwelling is the world.
Check out key rings, man. House number 2.
I think I was in jail. That's why I couldn't return to my dwelling, because I was in jail.
There was an announcement in the news if you didn't see it.
Might as well sit on his lap, man.
Don't you see me trying
I
to
have keyring number 3.
Okay, so Mr. Big Belly and Mr. Free Band Junkie.
That's my baby mother house. Yeah.
Have a seat, gentlemen. Really now, okay. Mr. Rex Johnson, where you live at?
You said what, officer?
Where you live at, Mr. Rex Johnson?
Not in the garden.
Okay. No residential. You have no keys to no houses there.
No, sir.
Okay. So none of y'all have houses in the gardens except them 3.
Just for the record.
Nope.
What's going on, Mr. Junkie?
No, not at all. She's deceased. She passed away maybe like a month ago. She used to mess with this dude. He died. His name was Slime Wop. And I had a key, but I think that home is vacant. But I still got the key if you need it.
Excuse me, DA. Did you say 24? Well, I purchased it a while back, but I usually Airbnb it out.
Terry. Which house was the one with the 900?
No, ma'am. The last time somebody
coins
rented
and the $9 million.
rented out, it's been a minute, so I lost those receipts.
Simple. So you guys don't want to claim this $9 million? Which apartment? Who lives in apartment 36? I know y'all want y'all money back, right? Apartment 36. All right.
I need to give you the key.
Chief Drizzy, if you could just have Terry send me the evidence.
Okay. Okay.
Also, number 24.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yo. The Bearcat, I'm at quarter and I can't even get it out. What's up? Bro, I'm in fucking quarter.
DA Ripley, could you please approach the bench?
Sure.
And when you get a chance, can you let me know?
So how many apartments were unclaimed?
Appreciate you.
Okay, for the unclaimed ones, let's turn them over to the bank, okay? So no one owns these places anymore. All right? Thank you.
All right, Judge, we're ready.
So Miss Ripley, the only thing we found in or we found stuff in Wanzo's house, but we didn't find nothing in the other guy's house. Is he
You ready?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Both parties are ready.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Well, let's get it started. With the plaintiffs, with a excuse me, kind of tired. Barely got any rest. It's Memorial Day weekend. Was out with the family fishing. Could both parties introduce yourself?
My name is District Attorney Ellen Ripley, and I'll be representing Ellis Pitty in the state today.
And who's there next to you, Mrs. Ripley?
I am Chief Grizzley. I'm here as acting assistant DA to help Miss Ripley out in this case.
Could we get the fire department down here to get rid of that fire hydrant?
Yes, sir. I will contact them right now.
Thank you.
Need fire department down here at the
Who do we have
courthouse.
representing the defendants?
My name is Strawberry Cash. I'm a criminal defense lawyer.
My name is Lawyer Chris, criminal defense lawyer.
Okay. Nice to see you guys again. Okay. DA Ripley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Judge. Today, the state presents a case against the Grizzley Gardens criminal organization. Today, we're prepared to show evidence that we believe shows that they are involved in what is known as the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, meaning they are being charged with a RICO charge. And you may be asking yourself, what constitutes a RICO charge? Well, dating back to 1970, RICO charges basically state that a group of individuals must be found to commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity from a list of 35 crimes. There are 27 federal crimes and 8 state crimes that are on that list. We believe that the evidence that we will show you today will prove that all of the gentlemen that you see here are not only involved in those criminal acts, but they have committed more than 2 of those offenses over the course of several months. Our officers, undercover officers, as well as criminal informants, have provided us with a lot of compelling evidence. Not to mention their own records will show that all the gentlemen that you see here, who would typically be wearing Grizzly Gardens chains, are in fact involved in racketeering and should be charged with the RICO charges.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ripley. Cash. Opening statement, please. Mrs. Cash.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Opening statement, please.
Yes, sir. So all of the clients that we have on stand today, the evidence that we have on file and you will be presented is all hearsay. Today we are going to prove this with our defense of these clients not being guilty in this racketeering act.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we have before us a gang called the Grizzly Garden Boys are all being indicted under the RICO Act for racketeering, distribution of narcotics, attempt murders. How do you want to try? Who do you want to try first, Mrs. Ripley?
What do you think, Drizzy? Do we go with Wanzo first? I think we'd like to start with Mr. Wanzo Brown.
Okay. Mr. Wanzo Brown, could you please step to the plaintiff station, please?
Yo. Si, senora.
Do we need an interpreter for him?
Oh, Judge, you know, that's great. If he does need someone who speaks multiple languages, hablo español.
Okay, well, that's great.
Sí, hablo poquito español, pero. Mr. Brown, do you need me to translate for you?
No, I can speak English very fine.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just making sure.
Okay, for the record, Mr. Wanzo Brown, could you please introduce yourself to the court?
Hi. My name is Wanzo Brown from Los Santos.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh shit.
Mr. Brown, can
Hi.
we get him?
My name is Walter
can we get
Brown.
him? I want to swear him in so that we can go ahead and ask him some
Los
questions.
Santos.
Can we do that? Yes, please.
Okay.
Jack Ruby.
Please step on the stand, Mr. Wanzo.
Put the brass knuckles up, bro.
I think he just smelled my hair.
Trying to keep your inappropriate things to yourself, Mr. Brown.
Sir, do you solemnly swear tell the whole to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Open the door. Wait a minute. What did you just say?
Thank you, Bailey.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm motherfucking head pop. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was
skating on thin ice. You're skating on thin ice, Wanzo. Okay?
Come here.
Yeah.
Don't bring the street stuff in here in my courtroom. This ain't the Grizzly Gardens, okay?
Sound like conflict of interest to me, but okay.
You can proceed. No
Mr.
talking out of
Brown.
turn either, sir. You can proceed, D.A. Ripley.
Mr. Brown, how are you today?
I've been better.
You've been better. Do you remember the last time we saw each other?
Like the motel off F Block.
No,
Beg your
no, I don't
pardon?
think that was me. I don't think that was me, Mr. Brown.
Oh no, I don't remember then.
Do I look like someone that you would frequently? It's besides the point. So the last time I saw you, I believe we were at LSPD, were we not?
We could have been.
Do you recall what your charges were that day?
I don't got the best memory.
Okay. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Brown. How many times have you been charged with a federal or state crime?
How many times? Charged with it?
Correct.
I don't have a great memory.
Would you say it's more than once?
More than once. It may have been, it may have not have been.
Would you say it's more than two?
It may have been, it may have not have been.
Hey, listen here, Brown. You don't remember how many times you've been incarcerated, sir? Is it that many times?
What did I
I
tell
may
you?
know, I
¿Qué
may
vas a
not
hacer?
have known.
I can't come in here, bro.
Sir, are you trying to
What
plead
is
the
that
fifth?
shit?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness, please.
What the?
Please explain.
That's why my record stays with you guys, so I don't have to keep up with it.
Okay, so would you like... all right, that's fine. We can do that, Mr. Brown. When is the last time you went to prison?
Last time I went to prison today.
And what did you go to prison for today?
They told me that I'm being charged with some things. I think they mentioned RICO. And they threw me in the jail cell.
Now, I see here on the 3rd that you actually had your record expunged. Do you recall?
Before.
I don't have a great memory.
You don't have a great memory. Mr. Brown, do you have a medical issue?
No, not a medical issue. It's just that so much happens in my life, D.A. Ripley, that some stuff just gets thrown out the storage in my brain, you know?
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
This morning,
Objection, relevance.
Sorry.
Well, Judge, the relevance is that the suspect here is claiming that he has a poor memory and that he loses memory. This is literally just me trying to make sure that we have a competent person on the stand here.
I see where you're headed. Objection overruled.
okay. If I tell you what I had for breakfast, that might be a little inappropriate.
Oh, go ahead. Please, humor the court.
Judge, you want me to go ahead and say it?
Please answer the question, Mr. Brown.
Okay. And some ass.
Oh my God.
You said that. What happened to Virgil?
So you're
Quiet in the
testifying that you
courtroom,
ate
quiet in the
ass
courtroom.
this morning, Mr. Brown. Is that what you'd like to be put in the record?
Objection,
Precisely.
Judge. Asked and answered.
Objection sustained. Please move on.
Thank you.
That is
What did you
precisely
have
what I had.
yesterday?
Yesterday, my breakfast don't change. I eat the same thing every morning.
So,
Hey, quiet in the courtroom. If you talk again, you will be removed.
Judge, can you please direct this witness to answer the
Mr.
questions
Brown,
truthfully?
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
His beard is not
So-
full enough for him to eat ass every day.
So you mean to tell me
Manscaped.
you eat food
Hey, this nigga
Regular.
is.
every day?
Correct.
Not once have you caught food poisoning from this.
Negative.
Is it the same ass every day?
I plead the fifth on it.
Okay. Next question, please.
Mr. Brown, this goes back to testing your memory, okay? How
Okay.
many cars do you own?
How many cars?
Mhm.
Quite a few.
What's the last car that you purchased?
The last car that I purchased. I think it was a Tesla. It's not here yet though. It's pre-ordered.
Okay, and prior to that?
The Charger, the jailbreak Hellcat Charger. That's also a pre-order.
And when did you purchase those?
This morning. After I ate breakfast.
Your Honor?
Yes.
You can see that we have a non-compliant witness here, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm
I'm answering every question you guys are asking me.
Drink that. Gonna put your food up.
Do you know how serious the
Okay.
RICO case is, Mr.
do.
Brown?
I do.
Do you know you're looking at life in prison?
I do.
You know everything that you own can be seized?
I do.
I need you to be as honest as you can here, okay?
I am. I'm being honest. I came up here and I told you what I do and what I've done. And I'm answering all your questions to the best of my ability.
Okay, so then let's just cut to the chase, okay? So, in our evidence file, Mr. Brown, we have footage where you are identifying another person in your organization, Mr. RJ. And you also admit to having a HQ, also known as a headquarters, up north. You wagered money up to 5 million in a competition with known gang leader Mike Garitano. Now, in this footage, not only do you exchange dialogue about the rules of engagement of a potential gang war, but you also claim all the members that were standing behind you as your quote unquote guys. Are you the leader of the Grizzly Gardens?
I would like to take this moment to exercise my Fifth Amendment right.
Let the record reflect Mr. Wanzo Brown is exercising his Fifth Amendment, and the court will respect it. You can step down, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Judge, if possible, I would like to present to the court that evidence, just so if you would like to broadcast that. It's in the document that was provided to you by Chief Drizzy. But
Anybody have something to drink?
Mrs. DA, can you
Which,
by any chance send that to the DOJ emails?
you, yes, you have it. It's in the document. That's strawberry.
Okay.
Okay,
Which
thank
part of evidence are we speaking of?
If you go to the documents for the RICO case documents, there's a section where it says Part 1 and Part 2.
I think
Where
that
it
was me that was
shows the
hungry. I don't know.
conversations where Mr. Wanzo Brown is speaking to known Rolling 60 Crip leader Mike Garatano.
Okay, 1 second, please.
Do we have that too? Do we have that too?
Yes, we do. It's missing.
Where is it? I'm confused.
Mr. Wanzo, would you like me to provide that to you?
Yes.
There's Part 1. There's Part 2. I can also provide you with this document as well if you'd like that.
Okay, I'm gonna go check.
We're looking at the first clip in the evidence, ma'am.
Shout out him. He a W person. Whoever just subscribes to the YouTube. No cap. W mans. Kizzy.
Which one? In the video, who is
Part
he?
1.
Oh, okay. I don't believe he was identified. I believe he had a mask on. I'm not quite sure which one he is. We just hear his voice.
Okay. Was that the evidence that you were referring to? DA Ripley?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, I just took a look at it. You can proceed.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure if Strawberry would like to cross-examine this witness. It is her opportunity to do so before I continue.
Yes. Can you go ahead and go back on stand? I'm gonna go ahead and cross-examine you.
No problem.
Now, Mr. Brown, you did watch that first piece of evidence. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Were you there at any time? Was that you speaking?
No.
You were not there.
No.
Okay. Do you know anyone by the name of RJ?
RJ?
Correct.
Not that I can think of.
Noted. Now they're saying that you run a quote unquote gang named Grizzly Garden. Do you run a gang?
No.
Are you a leader of any organization?
No.
That's all I have to ask.
All right, you can return to your seat, please.
Now may I speak on the first piece of evidence that was provided to the court?
Sure.
Now, in that piece of evidence that was provided, one, you cannot identify Wanzo Brown being in that parking lot. The only thing you can hear is you can hear a voice, but I don't see in the evidence that we've received today any voice analyst to detect that it was him. It was a very dark environment. There's no way to visually see him in any way. Wanzo Brown's name was never mentioned in that parking lot as well.
Chief Drizzy, did you have a voice analyst go over this video?
Negative, sir. So the thing is this footage is mainly for I mean, we can mainly pin this on the people that he said in the video, Mr. RJ, Ronnie Jr., and Mr. Duke. So that's who we're really identifying at the scene.
Judge,
Yes, you can speak.
they named RJ. Now he just said Ronnie Jr. Ronnie
That's his
Jr.'s
nickname.
name.
I said Ronnie Jr. Mouth. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
but there was no evidence of Ronnie Jr. Aside from ballistics, but RJ, we can't say who RJ is. To say that Ronnie Jr. Using RJ for short is a nickname, there's no way to prove that that's his nickname. So we do not know, as Wanzo Brown just testified, he does not know who an RJ is.
Okay. This other person that you mentioned in the paperwork, Mike of the Crips, is
Correct.
He's present? Could we cross-examine him?
Mr. Garatano is not present, I believe. However, he was identified as the leader of the Crips during a recent sweep done by the
Damn.
FBI.
Stomach hurting and shit.
So this is going to be a different.
We're not charging him. It's just that he was involved in a conversation.
Stay real quick. It's gonna make me stand up.
Where
It would've
they
been
were
good to
discussing.
Didn't. Okay, cool.
Is what I'm
Correct. Correct. Yeah, he's not in the city at the moment, but he is a known gang leader, which leads to not only Mr. Brown associating with other felons, because that man is in fact a felon, but also the fact that they were discussing gang war terms, including body dumping people in the water and things like that.
Okay. We'll guess we'll visit that whenever it arises. Oh, okay. So what are the exact charges for Mr. Wanzo Brown?
So Mr. Wanzo Brown has actually been found in possession of lots and lots of heroin, Judge. In the document, you will see that, as well as several other charges, attempted murder. As you know, Judge, the RICO charge, really, we only need him to have been convicted or have the potential to be indicted on 2 federal or state crimes on the list of RICO charges, and he fits the bill tenfold. The document pretty much outlines everything. Let me direct your attention to something specific there. Just give me one moment.
Okay.
Okay. So I have an evidence, Your Honor. If you go to page 6, the arrest of Mr. Wanzo Brown with 3,900 grams of heroin and 6 semi-automatic guns.
Yes, I seen he has a very extensive record, a criminal record at that. And I'm really trying to understand how is he free at the moment
That's
with
a
these
great
kind of
question.
charges?
That's a great question, Your Honor, and it's something that I can't really speak to because I've only had the chance to pursue charges against Mr. Wanzo Brown twice. The second time he was released from police custody by Chief Grady, and the first time he was actually convicted. So I'm not sure after that how that happened, Your Honor, to be honest. But yes, he has been charged several times, not only with possession of large amounts of narcotics, but also he has been charged with murder. He's also there's also plenty of evidence of him being at the scene of crimes with ballistic evidence, firing illegal weapons.
Okay. Yeah, I looked over that evidence. I seen his criminal record, very serious charges that he was already convicted of.
And I want to be clear here because
It's
I
crazy.
understand that the terms. I heard someone mention earlier that we were trying to try them for the same crime twice. That's not the case. The charges here are not to charge you for crimes that you've already served time for. The RICO charge actually goes to show a pattern of criminal racketeering charges. So if someone is repeatedly doing the same crimes and happens to be doing so in conjunction with an
Hey, sir, are you
organization.
smoking a cigarette in my courtroom?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm going through a lot right now. I needed to hit that. I'm going through a lot, Your Honor. They trying to give me life over something I didn't do. My anxiety is all over the
Put
place.
the cigarette out and shut your mouth.
I just did. I apologize, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Control your client.
I know you're going through a lot, Mr. Brown. We're gonna make sure we get you through this. Just please refrain yourself from smoking. Okay.
Mrs. Ripley, could you please explain to me how do you tie all of these individuals into a RICO case? What is the
Sure.
connection of the RICO case? Is they organized crime, or they're all distribution of this drug heroin?
Correct.
Do they have a
Correct, Your Honor.
supplier?
Oh, dude,
Your
finally
Honor,
sat down.
Well, Drizzy, would you care to explain
I've been waiting for bro
your
to sit down this
document and
whole
how we were
time.
able to link Mr. Duke Jackson as well as Wanzo Brown to the heroin?
Yes, ma'am. So we'll start with the shots, Judge. We've had several crime scenes in the city of Los Santos where we come to them, and we've not only found the DNA from several of these people unlawfully shooting and honestly committing murders because we've had bodies on the scene, but we've had several people identify them by name as the distributors of heroin. Mr. Duke Jackson.
People that identify them, are they present to take the stand?
No, sir.
Judge?
But we do have footage.
I've seen the footage.
May I
What?
speak, Judge?
Okay, you're not. Hold on, one moment, please.
So, yes, sir. So, along with the DNA as well as the footage we have linked everybody over there in that stand to one another, or to another, or through another, etc. And it all stems back to Mr. Duke Jackson.
Okay. Okay. Is Mr. Duke Jackson in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Wanzo Brown's best friend.
Mr. Jackson. Did he nod off?
Maybe he thinking real hard about these charges.
He's speaking, Your Honor.
Think a shout, Mr. Jackson.
Shout.
Yo, what's going on?
Could you please take the stand?
Man, I ain't taking no stand, man. I plead the fifth. It's over with.
Let the court reflect that Mr. Duke Jackson is exercising Amendment right. and it will be respected.
Um,
DA Ripley.
yes, Judge. I'd also like to so the unit number 1, which we subpoenaed the keys for after the RICO case raid on the gardens, it does belong to Mr. Wanzo Brown, and as you know, a grenade as well as several other illegal weapons were found inside that home. But among the most terrifying of all of that, of course, is going to be the grenade. So that was in Mr. Wanzo's home, which was locked, by the way.
So he the one that had the grenade in his home.
Correct.
Could you explain that, Mr. Brown?
Yes, of course. My granddad, who I love and appreciate and cherish so much, was in World War II, and he brought back home a lot of things. It's actually his apartment, that's in the gardens where he raised me, and I don't go through his things. You know, like I left his room the same way he had it. So if they found a grenade in there, then it had to be his. He got arrested, so.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Yes.
What years did your grandfather serve in the military?
I don't have the greatest memory.
So, Mr. Brown, we found the AP pistol, also known as the automatic pistol, in your home. Are you aware of what year that gun was created?
Like I said, I never touched any of my granddad's stuff.
Is your granddad still alive?
No. Unfortunately.
Relevance, Your Honor.
I'm asking because if he
There's a
fell in.
grenade found in the house.
Yes. If he's found in possession of his grandfather's stuff in his home, if his grandfather got a grenade, an AP pistol, a compact rifle, an assault SMG, a hatchet, and knuckle dusters from war, I'd like to be able to link that to a specific war. He can't testify. Unfortunately, he's passed away. We thank him for his service, and we mourn his death.
If he was still here, he would have been happy to clear everything up and let you know that this is all a big misunderstanding.
What year did he pass?
He passed this morning.
What was his name?
Are you sure that's everything?
Calvin
Last name?
Brown.
Judge, are you aware of an obituary post or a funeral held for Mr. Calvin Brown?
I'm gonna tell you one thing.
I am not aware.
My granddad was a very older guy, and he believed in the natural ways that people did things. He didn't want all of that funeral stuff or any of that. He just said, "Listen, just bury me." And I wasn't strong enough to do it, so my uncles buried him. They didn't do all this stuff that people do today, the funerals, obituaries, stuff like that, because it's nobody's business but the close families. So we know that he's resting in peace.
And what was your grandfather's name?
Calvin Brown.
Okay.
Judge, I'd like to, now that he has introduced new evidence to the court, stating that his grandfather is the true owner of those weapons and that he passed away this morning, I would actually like to assert that he's in fact perjuring himself right now because there is no record of a Calvin Brown in the Los Santos or San Andreas records. In fact, there's no one named Calvin in the Los Santos or San Andreas records. So,
When was your records created?
if your grandfather served in the military, he would be here.
How far do your records date back?
They date back pretty far, Mr. Brown.
Like how far?
Enough that if your grandfather was in the military, he would show up in the records, Mr. Brown. There's no escaping that. Once you were in the military, you were in the military.
What year your record date back to?
You can't even tell me what year he served in war, Mr. Brown.
Okay, let the record reflect There's no record of a Calvin Brown in the city of Los Santos or San Andreas. Okay, this is what I need from you, Mrs. Ripley and Mr. Drizzy. Okay, to convict the defendant under RICO, the government must prove that the defendant engaged in 2 or more instances of racketeering activity and the defendant directly invested in, maintained an interest in, or participated in criminal enterprise affecting interstate or foreign commerce.
Yes, sir.
I need you guys to tell me, how will this RICO case stand against all of these defendants that you say claim Grizzley Gardens?
Correct, Your Honor. At least 2 or more, Your Honor. All we have to do is pull up their criminal record from the past week. The majority of the people sitting before you have been charged with
Move closer to me, bro.
tons of different felonies, whether it be assault on an LEO, attempted murder of an LEO, attempted murder of a civilian, possession of an illegal weapon, possession of an illegal firearm.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. This has nothing to do with a RICO case and the charges
Yes,
being brought
it
against
has
our clients.
everything
These
to
are
do with the
previous
RICO
charges.
case. Everything to do with the RICO case. The RICO case
A
states that they
RICO
must
case
be,
must prove
sir.
3 of
Okay,
those
hold on.
crimes.
Let me ask this question.
Yes, sir,
Let me ask
Judge.
this question. As far as a RICO case, you have to prove that there's some type of leadership and that this group is moving in unison. Okay.
Correct, sir. That's why we believe Duke Jackson is leading everything.
What proof do you have that Duke
It's hearsay.
or Wanzo is a leader? Like, I need solid proof. I don't want no one saying a name. I need like proof that these guys
So-
are actual leaders of the Grizzly Garden.
Your Honor,
Okay.
this entire case should be dismissed. It's a lack of evidence, and
Hold on,
everybody
no
that is
outbursting,
being-
Mrs. Strawberry, please, no outbursting. I just asked them a question.
Judge, if you actually go down to page 3, you could see not only, now while we cannot provide the suspects here because it is 3:51 in the morning and this is a late night hearing, we cannot provide those suspects in the court where Duke Jackson is named as the heroin plug-in leader. We do have evidence of Duke taking lead in dialogue between Mr. Mike Garatano in a conversation that led to Mike saying no shooting at Gigi, aka Grizzly Garden, and Duke radioing back to his allies saying not to shoot at the Crips. There's footage of that as well.
Your Honor.
And this evidence was obtained how?
Your Honor, I believe that one of our undercovers were inside of the gun store with the wire on, and as well as their body cam.
Is undercover here to testify?
No, sir.
I believe the footage, though, Judge, speaks for itself. I'm not
Please
sure.
Let the record reflect that we can't even cross-examine this person who is saying all these
The
things
thing
about our
about
clients.
this is, DA Ripley, the defendant has a right to face his accuser.
And we are his accuser.
You are the accuser, but you got different dynamics. You got different people that play different roles, and these people should be present.
Judge, that would put the undercover cop at risk.
You at risk every day when you are here serving the law.
You should go on witness
That would
protection
also
after doing something like that.
that
That's
would
what you don't do.
also
Defendants, please stop outbursting.
that would also, Judge, that would also compromise his ongoing investigation. Now, we had to act on this immediately because, as you could see, Mr. Wanzo Brown is in possession of a grenade. You know how many explosions we have around Los Santos daily? It's truly, I mean, this needs to be ended, Judge.
Okay.
So that's why we had to act so quickly. I'm sure you can understand the safety of the civilians of this city and this state.
I definitely do. Okay. Do
Your Honor.
the defendants have anything they want to
Yes.
say?
Quick question. Since the grenade is so old, did they even check to see if the grenade was armed or charged? The grenade might not even work.
Yes, Chief. Yes, we have. I'm getting word from my chief that we did check and the grenade was still active. There was still a pin inside the grenade. It was still ready for use. Chief, I have it
Was there any evidence
We do have it
provided
if it needs to be
the
provided.
court that it was working?
If
No
No, we have the
evidence was
grenade. We
provided.
have the grenade ready to show the judge and the defendant.
You could have switched the grenade.
Right. We have no evidence.
We've
of
had
the
live
grenade
body
getting
cam on
swapped
since
out.
we've obtained it. We can provide the live feed to you guys if you would like.
It was just a question.
Yes, sir.
I would also like to mention, for all of the evidence that was provided against Mr. Brown, the one in the parking lot, as I mentioned before, you were never able to identify him. There was no voice analyst in here to match his voice to the crime. It was too dark at night to see really anybody in that parking lot. Now, these other charges with the attempt of murder that was on there, they want to say that belongs to a RICO charge, but it's not showing how it's all related, quote unquote, gang called Grizzly Garden.
What the fuck? Why didn't he stand
We have
up?
nobody here to testify against them. It's almost all hearsay.
Okay. Okay, so listen, this is what we'll do.
May I add one thing, Judge?
You want to add one thing? Who is that?
Yes, sir. So the RICO charge is supposed to, as you said, prove 2 of the crimes that is a RICO crime. So bribery, drug trafficking, kidnapping. You know, the mafia has been linked to cases of racketeering. I mean, this Grizzly Garden Boys gang, however you said, you know, they're definitely not the mafia. They're not the mob. They're not money laundering. They're not using businesses to, you know, clean money. They're not doing any of these things that is a RICO crime. These are serious crimes, nonetheless.
Judge, objection, Judge. Like I said earlier, the gentlemen that are sitting here before you literally have charges for several of the crimes on that are listed
Several
under
of
the
them are
RICO
bank
Act.
robbers.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that. They
Objection.
definitely
Some
have
of these
multiple
people
charges.
have already
Hold on, excuse me.
received-
Why do you do this?
My apologies, Mr. Dick Wrinkly.
I agree as far as the charges. The thing is,
He was just involved in a 1099 that led officers.
you have to prove organization within these charges.
Yes, sir. Check the case file.
Like somehow, some way,
Check the case
everything
file.
like
It was
them
the other
charges,
day.
they have been charged with all that need to tie in with each other. That's the whole thing of a RICO.
Hey, bro. Hey, Sal funny as shit, man.
Yes,
This
Judge.
charge is connected
The
to
judge
this,
funny.
this charge is- everything
And-
needs to be connected in order for this to be a RICO case.
Correct.
A gang is a gang, but an organization is something different.
I 100% agree, Judge. And we also have additional proof that they are linked, not only by attire, but we have provided clips from body cam footage from undercover showing that they move as a unit to commit criminal acts, including the war between known gang members. Not only that, Judge, but every time that they are picked up for their charges, they're all wearing a very specific article of clothing. And that particular article of clothing happens to be the Grizzly Gardens chain. Now, there are several varieties of that chain, but there is one that is specifically named Grizzly Gardens. Now, while that alone is not enough to say that they are a criminal organization, that paired with the gentlemen who are wearing said chain are the ones who are actively being arrested for crimes together and separately is enough evidence to prove that they're moving as an organization. Now, the LSPD wears a badge, right? And they all wear a very specific shirt and a specific vest. They all move together just like a unit and an organization, right? So
Honor,
if we're going
objection.
to
So she's mentioning these chains, Grizzly Garden chains. None of this was provided in that spreadsheet that you and I and the rest of the court have received. So that's not relevant to this case at all. So they had
Judge,
the time to add it to the spreadsheet, and that was not
Actually, we do not need to provide photos of their intake photos from when they were convicted of crimes. That's public record. Anybody can look that up.
But you're saying that that chain is a.
Objection
You're
sustained.
saying that.
Please do not mention the chains if they are not in the evidence.
Okay, sir. What is in the evidence though is their record, and these guys, several of these guys have been together when robbing banks. Several of these guys have been together when convicted for murders. several of these guys have been together when they've been convicted for having drugs on them and been a part of drug sales.
Okay.
So that is what we did. We have linked them to because they have been associated with each other's in crimes that we have documented.
Yeah, I see that one. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
One thing that does come back to them all is they all like to hang out in a known place called the Grizzly Garden, aka their gang name. So
This is the
we
same
also
place
have
that we just raided and found multiple weapons and a shitload of drugs.
correct, sir, a lot of heroin.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, DA Ripley, could you please go in for the closing statement?
Damn. 20 bricks of coke. At least 30 bricks of heroin. Damn.
DA Ripley,
I'm sorry, Judge.
would you please go in for the closing statement?
Judge, are we prepared to extend this out to allow for witnesses to be present in jail? I'd like to request a continuance.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a recess, Judge, where we can
Or a
continue this
recess.
another day.
Schedule this for a different time. How will we proceed with the defendants? Will they stay in custody? Like, how will we go about this?
Judge, I will leave that up to your recommendation. However, what I would like to say specifically about Mr. Wanzo Brown and several of these members here, really, to be honest, all the gentlemen arrested here is that they are known to perpetrate violent crimes. I do not feel safe releasing them out to the streets of Los Santos. But that's entirely up to you, Judge.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Yes.
I would like to say if we cannot make a motion to continue this another day. They said that this took weeks for them to prepare. They had more
We've
than
had
enough
no
time.
evidence.
They had more than enough time to gather everything, have all of the witness ready. We had approximately 10 minutes as their defense to gather information. So I find it unfair to allow them
That's
any
not
more
true.
time.
She got the evidence earlier.
As we've had none.
Miss Cash, can I ask you a question?
You may.
Have you never received evidence from the DA prior for the crimes that you've defended these clients for?
All of the crimes that I have been presented, they were closed cases. I assessed them at the time. The cases have been closed.
So are
Also,
you saying you
Judge,
have
I
no
would like to
knowledge of
add-
the prior crimes that you're...
They don't need to be.
Let
The
me ask this
prior
question.
crimes,
don't need to
yes,
be
I
open
have
cases.
knowledge of them, but they're not being presented here in court. So
Mr. Chief Drizzy, how long did it take for you to prepare this case?
Sir, I've been working on the case for a long time, but to actually prepare for it, shit, man, honestly,
what is a long time? Give me a ballpark number.
around 6 months, sir.
6 months. Okay.
And we had 10 minutes.
Not an overstatement. And
So the
Judge,
motion-
I'd like to add in behalf of the defense that
Wait, Chris.
The motion to continue. The motion to for a recess will be denied. I feel that the prosecution had enough time to put this together. Whether they got with you in time or not, DA Ripley is solely on the federal, whether it be ATF, DEA, or the police department. Is solely rest is on the chief, because this should have been handled more delicate. And I really don't want to drag this out too longer. So we can go in for the closing, please. Could you please close an argument from both sides?
So, Judge, you're denying the opportunity to extend this case out tomorrow and we can provide witnesses?
I feel that the prosecution had enough time.
What? Judge,
feel
did
that
you
the
or did you not... Judge, did you or did you not actually request for me to fly in specifically to hear this case an hour ago?
That's what I said. This rests on the PD, because the PD was supposed to inform you about this when they was building this case 6 months ago.
Okay, Judge.
You should have knew about this case before I knew about it. The defendants, Miss Cash, would you please
Okay.
with your closing argument, please?
Yes. So as we went over the evidence today in court, my client, as well as other clients that we have on the stand with us, were able to prove that this is not an act of a RICO racketeering charge in any ways. These are just individual charges that were being brought up. It is a lack of evidence and hearsay.
Is that all you have to say?
Yes, and we also plead not guilty.
Okay. Is there any type of plea agreements?
Judge, I was saying a second ago, I'd like to add that I did ask and reach out to the defense attorney and see if that we could come to an agreement for any of the clients. And I asked to see the evidence, speak with the district attorney and look at it, see if we could come to agreement. And we obviously did not receive that option. So,
Is this correct, Mrs. Ripley?
Yes, Judge.
No plea agreements.
the defense rests.
Um, plea agreements?
Yeah.
I would say for Mr. Duke Jackson and Mr. Wanzo Brown, because they were found in possession of such large amounts of heroin, as well as possession of several illegal weapons in Mr. Wanzo's home, which he is claiming is tied to his grandfather who passed away this morning, either before or after he ate his normal breakfast. I would say asset forfeiture, as well as 1,000 months in prison each for them. And then for the remaining members, 500 months apiece.
Okay. Did you hear the defendants? Did you hear the plea agreement?
I definitely heard it.
Would you like to proceed?
I would like to speak to my client, if you don't mind me speaking to my client.
Okay.
I speak with him outside of the courtroom for about 5 minutes.
And no recess.
5 minutes.
Yes, a 5-minute recess is being requested.
Object. So we got no recess. I believe there should be no recess for the defendants as well.
Okay, so then I will speak to him as the judge already said I could.
Objection sustained.
I want to plead not guilty.
Are you pleading not guilty to the weapons that were found in your home, sir?
That is correct.
Okay.
So
We plead not guilty to the
DNA that
RICO
links back to some of the guns that we found.
Which we've been charged with today.
That is correct.
I mean, it's too late now. The judge doesn't want to continue.
Oh,
We've already plead not guilty before.
Okay. So, looking over this evidence, I can clearly see that there's something that's going on in this neighborhood called the Grizzley Gardens. I can see a number of you guys that's in this courtroom are career criminals. I see your record, what you've been charged with, what you were on probation or parole for, what was found in your home today. So, Miss Ripley, what was found in each one of them homes? Like, who had something in there?
Well, Judge, as you heard earlier, even though we subpoenaed their keys, only 3 homes were accounted for on that list.
And was anything found in them homes?
The house number 1 was the one that was found with the majority of the contraband.
That's claim.
Mr. Terry, can you?
No, house number 1 belongs to Mr. Wanzo Brown.
Belongs to Mr. Calvin Brown. I live there now.
And there is no record of a Calvin Brown ever living in Los Angeles. Not to mention, the Grizzly Gardens were just raised about, a month and a half ago.
Okay. So, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What about the other homes? Anyone over there that claimed them that had contraband in their home?
No, sir. No, sir. Nobody claimed it. But we did have several homes found with contraband. We found 30 bricks of heroin, 20 bricks of cocaine, around 20 bricks of opium, $18 million total, and a lot of guns.
And these are all unclaimed.
Objection, Your Honor. We've already ran through the closing
And these are in
arguments
project
for the plea
houses.
deal.
Excuse me,
if you
Mr.
go
Montgomery,
there.
I'm asking questions.
Chief 905 Grizzly
That's why they're
coins.
speaking on it, because I'm asking questions.
Over 30,000.
And we've also found 900 Grizzly coins, which is only obtainable, through illegal ways.
But all of
and-
these, all of this contraband that you just named, besides what Wanzo Brown confessed to, the rest of this is unclaimed contraband.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. There's no way that we can figure out who placed this is.
You would have to subpoena the records of either the realtor or the state in order to get that. That's the only way. Unfortunately, if any of these gentlemen do own those homes, there's no way for us to really physically check, which is why we
Bro,
asked
who
for the
is hungry,
subpoena,
bro?
so that if it were to come out that they do in fact own these homes or have keys to these homes, they would be found guilty of obstruction of justice.
Okay. So listen. I feel like we should have, well, you guys should have spent more time preparing this case. So today I'm going to say I'm going to dismiss this case against everybody. But I am
Fuck y'all talking about?
Quiet in the courtroom. Quiet in the courtroom.
I am dismissing this case.
It's funny game right now, baby.
Alright, listen to me.
Up top, Mr. Zoe.
Quiet in the courtroom.
I can get a party in there.
I am dismissing this case without prejudice.
That is bullshit.
Are you guys listening?
That is bullshit.
You heard the fuck niggas just came to Smith.
Without prejudice, that means that
this
this
hoe, nigga.
back up.
Hey, everybody
Fuck
sit
this
down.
motherfucker, man. Hey, back up.
Everybody sit down.
Oh
Everybody
my
sit the
God, what
fuck
happened to
down.
the DEA?
Everybody sit the fuck down. Everybody sit the fuck down.
Hey.
Oh my God, what happened?
Come on,
Everybody sit down.
Bro.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
So,
Sit down.
Wanzo.
Come on, guys. There's still obstruction in the courtroom.
Wanzo.
Fuck that judge.
Bro, I am asleep, bro.
You the problem. Quiet in the courtroom. Quiet in the courtroom.
This is what you've done, Judge.
Free the Jack boys, man.
Fucking criminals, man.
They did not prove a RICO.
Oh,
No
shit.
shit, way, shit.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Your pants don't fit. Shut your mouth.
Good Jack, boy.
Shush it.
Some new evidence that we
This
might
case
need.
is being dismissed
That's
without
bum ass
prejudice.
district attorneys.
So, Chief
never
Grizzly,
thought
no,
I'd
please.
Yes, sir.
Court is dismissed.
Come on, Wanzo.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day, Judge.
You the fuck 12, stupid ass. You the problem, bitch ass cop. You the problem.
Judge,
That's crazy.
I just want it to be known that I am officially launching an investigation into you with the Bar Association. That
You
was
need to launch
out
an
of
investigation
pocket.
into yourself. You need to
Of
watch.
pocket.
Can we unlock these doors, Michael?
No, Judge. I don't
Do
need
you
to
guys,
watch my mouth.
do you guys? Okay, I don't have to stand here and talk to you then.
Judge,
Launch your
I will-
investigation, man.
Listen. No.
Listen,
Guys,
this
let
is
me
not
handle
about
this.
you
Judge,
guys paying attention to what the
I
fuck
will
is
literally
happening.
go grab
Excuse me,
a
ma'am. I'm not trying to hear nothing you're trying to say.
Bro, I'm
I
crying.
don't want no Italian.
Come on, Judge.
Hey, relax, break it up. Break them up.
Stop. Break it up. Break it up.
In between that.
Break it up.
In between that right there.
Ooh, I don't
All right,
get
this is a
saved.
friendly. That's just friendly fighting, man. We ain't gonna take nobody to jail. All right?
Hey, Drizzy, come here.
Yes, sir. That's just fair.
I ain't gonna lie, Rippy, she kind of fine, ain't she?
Yes, sir, Zeke.
Hey, babe. Come on, let's do it. Hey, I need my pockets back, bro.
Bro, I'm right here, bro. That's a crazy day, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Bro, get the fuck out the way, my nigga.
Yeah, make sure I got something to eat on y'all.
Yeah, I got some.
To fly out, that's it. I'm gonna fly out for right now, then. I'm done. That was crazy. Nice little church. Nice little church. I'm asleep. All right.